Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That was a nice tune. Welcome, Pavan, Radhe, Shyam, Kamal. I feel like with all the options available, if we could first go outside with Rakesh, that would be a nice way to open things up. He's out in the fresh air. And you also still have a report, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji, I need to present the report on Srivas Pandit.
Great. Last week, Rakesh gave a great report on Gadadhar Pandit. Govinda gave one on Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Both of them were first class. And we just didn't have time to do a third one on Srivas Thakur, or is it Srinivas? Srivas Thakur, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're all yours, Rakesh. Take it away.
Vanchakal pratrabhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Please accept my humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. So today I got the opportunity to present a report on Srivas Thakur, also known as Srivas Pandit. So like last week, I was saying in our Panchtattva Mahamantra, Panchtattva Mantra, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vranda. So in this one, the first three, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, these three are the incarnation or the Vishnu of Lord Vishnu, the Vishnu Tattva. And Gadadhar Pandit, whose report we covered last week, is the internal potency of Lord Vishnu, none other than Srimati Radharani. And Srivas Thakur is the Jiva Tattva in this Mahamantra. So that shows that how much the Lord loves his devotees, and not just his devotees, but the ones who love and serve the devotees, Lord loves them as well. So even though Srivas Thakur is a Jeev Tattva, a human being just like us, but because he served the Lord in with such a great devotion, Lord loves him so much that he is respected and his name is added in the Panch Tattva mantra. So that shows how much the Lord loves and gives mercy to his devotees. So like Caru Prabhu mentioned in the last week, that Srivas Thakur is like he in his previous life he was Narada. So once Narada, he wanted to like see the Lord, and he wanted to be part of his pastimes, and with this desire, he gave up his he was in already in the divine world. He didn't have to come to this material world, but because he wanted to be part of the Lord's pastime, that's why he gave up. And the story is that because Narada, he had this blessing from the Lord that he can travel to any world, whether the material world or the spiritual world. He can go anywhere he wants to. So he went to Vrindavan and he was searching for the Lord. He could see the gopis, but he was not able to see the Lord, and he became very sad with that, and he started meditating and praying for the Lord so he can see the Lord. And he continued with his prayers for a long time. And then one day one girl came to Narada and she asked that why are you doing this prayer? And Narada, he is a brahmachari, so he thought that and that girl was the Vranda Devi, so Tulsi Maharani, that came as that girl. So Narada thought that I'm a brahmachari, then how can I speak to a girl? But then he thought maybe that's the wish of the Lord, and he has sent this girl to help me out. So Vranda Devi asked him that, oh, do you want to eat something? Can I help you with something? So then Narada said that I don't want to eat anything, but I want to see the Lord. And she said, okay, you want to see Krishna? And Narada said, yeah, I want to see Krishna. I'm praying for that. She said, yeah, I can take you to the Lord. Come with me. And then Narada thought, oh, I'm a brahmachari. What if people see me talking and walking with this girl? But then he gave up that idea. He was like, I don't care. I just want to see the Lord. So he followed Vranda Devi, and she took him to this pond, and Narada saw lots of lotus flowers in that pond. But when those flowers came close to Narada, then he realized that those lotus flowers were actually like all the gopis doing Ras Leela with Krishna. So he got so happy, and he seeing that Leela, and then he wanted to jump in that pond and take part in it. And right when he was about to do that, then Vrinda Devi stopped him, that you can't do that. You were just asking that I want to see the Lord. You didn't say that I want to be part of it. So you can't do that. And then Narada became very upset with that, and he became angry. And then Vrinda Devi told him that this anger is not good. If you will be angry, then you won't be able to even see this Leela. And right when she said it, that's exactly what happened. The whole Leela disappeared, and that left Narada even with more grief and sorrow. So then the Lord Krishna told him that whatever you have experienced, write about it and then he wanted to be part of that Leela. That's why in this mantra that Srivas Thakur, he incarnated as Srivas Thakur 30 years before Mahaprabhu appeared to help with his pastime and be part of his pastime. So that's the background. Srivas Thakur is none other than Narada in his previous life. And so if we talk about the pastimes of Srivas Thakur, or rather the pastimes of Mahaprabhu that happened in Srivas Thakur's house. So like last week, we talked about how when Mahaprabhu was a young kid, he was so arrogant, and he used to do this leela of showing his arrogance so that he will question the people with their material knowledge, and then he will break their myths and he will defeat them in the argument. Okay, I'll come. Go. So sorry. So so one day Srivas Thakur told Mahaprabhu that the young Nimai, that's good that you have so much of knowledge, but what is the point of gaining this knowledge if you just earn arrogance from it? Your motive should be, or anyone's motive should be, that if they have the knowledge, they should try to serve the Lord and achieve the Lord by their serving. So then young Nimai just laughed, and he said that with your blessings, I will definitely achieve that, because everybody respected Srivas Thakur a lot. He was a great exalted devotee. So even Mahaprabhu said that if I can get your blessings, then yes, I will definitely get the mercy of the Lord, and I will get in the devotional life. And just after some time after this incident happened, Mahaprabhu went to Gaya, and he incarnated, not incarnated, he got initiated by Ishwar Puri. And that is also a part of the Leela of Mahaprabhu, that he got initiated by Ishwar Puri, an exalted devotee. So he wanted to show us that even though I'm the Lord myself, but he wanted to show that without the mercy of the Guru and without the mercy of the devotees and the great souls, there is no way we can progress in devotional life. So that was a great message in this Leela from Mahaprabhu. So then, like, if we relate Mahaprabhu's Leela with the Lord Krishna, so like how Lord Krishna, he was born in Mathura, but all his pastimes, most of his pastimes he performed were in Vrindavan. So same way, Mahaprabhu is born in Jagannath Mishra's house, his dad's house, but most of his pastimes happened in Srivas's house, Srivas Angan, which is that's why, like, he discussing about Srivas Thakur's pastimes or his life covers a lot of pastimes that Mahaprabhu performed. So one of the pastime is that one day Srivas Thakur, he was praying at his house, and then Mahaprabhu asked him, like, who do you worship? Who's your Lord? And then he said, I worship Lord Vishnu. And then Mahaprabhu showed him his four-handed Vishnu form in Srivas's house. And he was so merciful that he even showed his four-handed Vishnu form to the family of Srivas Thakur, because he wanted to show his love to the devotee, and not just the devotee, but to the ones who serve to the devotee. And another incident was in Srivas's house, there was a maid servant. Her name was Dukhi. So it's a Hindi word, and Dukhi means the one who is always sad. So she always used to bring Ganges water to the Lord, for Mahaprabhu, for his worship. So one day Mahaprabhu just asked that, okay, who is doing this service? Who brings this holy Ganges water for me? And then Srivas Thakur said that she brings it, like Dukhi brings it. And then Mahaprabhu said that Lord's devotees can never be Dukhi, like Lord's devotees can never be sad. They should always be happy. So he changed her name from Dukhi to Sukhi, and Sukhi means the one who is always happy. So that's how merciful the Lord is, and that's true that one is true devotee of the Lord, then yeah, they will never have sorrow, even though incidents will happen. But they take it as a mercy or the prasad of the Lord, and as a wish of the Lord, and they move on. So that and one of the most important pastime that happened in Srivas's Angan is that Srivas Thakur, he used to be like he used to love so much to the Lord and serve him with all his power and devotions that he would give up everything for the Lord. And when Harinam Sankirtan movement was started, and Mahaprabhu used to do the kirtan and chanting whole night in Shivas's Angan with Nityanand Prabhu and all other devotees. One day, Shivas Thakur's son, he was sick and he passed away. And Mahaprabhu was performing kirtan in his house. And when his son passed away, then all the ladies in the house, they started lamenting and crying. And Shivas Thakur heard that. So he immediately went to in that room and he said to all the ladies in the house that if you lament and if you cry, then Mahaprabhu will not be able to, Mahaprabhu will lose his mood and he will not be able to perform the kirtan. And if it happens, then I will not be able to forgive myself, and I will tie a stone and a rope to myself and jump in Ganges. I will die myself. So you stop it right now. And he warned them that if they don't stop it, he will kill himself. So all the ladies, they stopped, and Mahaprabhu continued with his kirtan for next another few hours. But Mahaprabhu was not getting that feel that day. So he stopped after a few hours and he asked that something is not right in this house. What's going on? And then Shivas Thakur said, nothing, Mahaprabhu, everything is fine. You please continue. But other devotees there, they told Mahaprabhu that Shivas's son has passed away. And after hearing that, Mahaprabhu stopped the kirtan. He was so sad. He immediately went in that room and he touched his son who already died. And as Mahaprabhu touched, the son immediately opened his eyes. And then Mahaprabhu asked the son that, why are you leaving your body? Why are you leaving your father and your family? So then the son said that I'm just a body, but soul never dies, and I have already taken birth and I have died so many times in past. But with the mercy of you and with the mercy of my dad, because because he's your devotee and I'm born in his family, I got the mercy to see you and be part of your pastimes, and I'm very happy because I'm directly going to the Golok Vrindavan. And then after hearing that, Srivas Thakur and all the family members were very happy. And then the son closed his eyes, and Mahaprabhu performed all the funeral and other rites for that for the son of Srivas Thakur. So that shows how much love Lord has for his devotees. And Mahaprabhu even blessed Srivas Thakur that from this day onwards, I myself and Nityanand Prabhu are your son. And even the goddess Lakshmi, who is the goddess of the all the like appliances, can beg with his as a beggar, but you will never have anything shortage in your life, and everything that you need for your worship will always come to your door. You don't even have to step out. So that's how merciful the Lord is. So so with that, I would like to end the report. But yeah, so Srivas Thakur is really a great example, and we should all pray for his mercy. And even in our Panchtattva mantra, when we say Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, so Srivas Thakur is saying that all with Srivas Thakur, all the devotees, we are praying to Mahaprabhu, Krishna Chaitanya, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, and Kadadhar Pandit, who is Srimati Radharani. So Srivas Thakur is saying that all the devotees pray to these Lord, and then we should go back to the Lord. And he is promising that I will wait till all the devotees are delivered. So he's saying that I will not go myself. I will wait till all the devotees are delivered. So that's the meaning of Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda in this Panchtattva Mahamantra. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the opportunity, and forgive me if I have spoken something wrong or if I missed something. Thank you so much. Hari Bol.
Does everybody want to unmute themselves and ask any questions or make any comments? I think that was an incredible report. Just amazing. What a great job. Not only this week, but last week. I'm sure that, Kamal, you have a question? No?
No, Prabhuji.
Anybody? Question or comment on that? That was so thorough. I just feel really
Yes.
satisfied down in my soul.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
really beautiful. And you can instantly feel that, you've heard about Srivas Thakur before, but this gave so much new flavor, so much relishment, and so much satisfaction to the soul. And Srila Prabhupada said Narad Muni came multiple times in Kirtans when he had with his disciples. And I always feel we have a special connection with Narad Muni and Srivas Thakur. And today I could feel that, and Rakesh Prabhu presented so well and so nicely and with so many sweet, sweet realizations. It's such a beautiful report. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Rakesh, Hari Bol, great job, buddy.
I think
Thank you so much, Leah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you actually took us right into the Srivas Angan, and I could see where the bed was lying, where Dukhi Krishna, how she used to take water. I could actually visualize the pot and the water and everything in Mahaprabhu's mercy. So thank you for all your hard work and enlightening us and purifying our hearts.
and that was
It's all
so,
your mercy. It's all your mercy, Mataji, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you so
that was
much.
so interesting that Krishna was born in Mathura, but he spent most of his time in Vrindavan. So Chaitanya was born in Jagannath Mishra's house, but he spent all his time over at Srivas Thakur's. I noticed some parallels also between Srivas Thakur's life and our verse today as well. Amrita Sundari, do you want to get us started? But let me just say, it was striking to me and coincidental that when Srivas, who was 25 years senior to Mahaprabhu, told him that he should use his knowledge and scholarship not just to show off and to put others down, but to make the lives of people in general better. He should use anyone who has scholarship, who has higher intellectual capacity. That's a gift from God. And one should honor God by using that for the good of all people. Munya sadyo prishta hambabab yat krita Krishna sampasho yat masu prasidati. Knowledge is not meant just to highlight yourself as an exceptional scholar, but it's meant to translate the pastimes and the knowledge of Krishna into layman's terms so that people in general can understand. Take Radhika Raman, for instance. He has intelligence that's off the charts. I'm like an ant, compared to a giant. And yet when he speaks, he uses that intelligence to present Krishna consciousness in such a way that even a child can understand it. So that was the appeal that Srivas made to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya immediately accepted it. The same appeal is made by the sages in Naimishranya to Sudha Goswami. They refer to his seniority, the fact that he's elder to them. They refer to the fact that he is coming from a great father, a great Pandit, a great father. He's also just heard from Sukadeva Goswami. And basically they're saying to him, we're not interested in knowledge in general. We're not interested in just hearing bits and pieces and snippets of what you know. We're not interested. You are perhaps one of the greatest minds on the planet at the present time, but we're only interested in your mind and your intelligence and your seniority insofar as you can present Krishna, because that yayatmashu prasidati, that is the only thing that will satisfy the soul and relieve the miseries of people in general. So I thought that was a happy coincidence that what Srivas told Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya accepted is pretty much the same thing that's going on in this verse. You want to launch, Amrita?
Yes, Prabhuji. Tatra tatranya sayushman bhavatayad vinishchita pumsam ekantata shreyas tannah samshitum arhasi. Please, therefore, being blessed with many years, explain to us in an easily understandable way what you have ascertained to be the absolute and ultimate good for the people in general. Such a sweet request. They're saying you have time. You are blessed with many years, and we are eager to hear. So Sutta Goswami, please go ahead and tell us the essence of everything. You know, they have glorified Sutta Goswami, saying you are expert in all the 6 branches of philosophy. Your spiritual masters are like Veda Vyas, and you know you're the son of Roma Harshana. But whatever you have known and learned and even realized, tell us the best part of it, you know. And we can hear that forever. And you have long life, you know, so just please go ahead. And on the retrospect, we understand why they are saying that, because once somebody starts talking about Krishna and devotees, you can go on forever, you know. there is no need to stop, you know. This katha is perpetual, it can go on forever. And they are not only wanting to relish that themselves, but they want everybody to know, all the living entities. So they're saying, you know, just say so all the living entities can get the best out of life, you know, the best knowledge. And Lord Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, most confidential knowledge. You know, Vedas have different levels of knowledge, but the most confidential knowledge is knowing me as a person and having a personal relationship with me. And Srila Prabhupada immediately brings up Bhagavad Gita and Acharya, because only through the Acharya, you learn the process of surrender to Krishna. And you know, so today the Acharya explains to us and convinces us that the essence of all the Vedic knowledge is loving service. And he gives us the qualification to pursue that path perfectly. Such a beautiful you know, coincidence of what Rakesh Prabhu spoke and what Caru Prabhu spoke, and the verse, everything fits in so perfectly.
And, you know, it mentions here the incompetencies of the people in this age of Kali. If you go back a couple of generations to the writings and talks of Bhakti Siddhanta, it's very, very high and scholarly and intellectual. But that was you know, people were that was normal for them. That was basically the currency of the day. But when Prabhupada came to America, he gave Krishna consciousness for dummies, you might say. You know what I'm saying? Just explained everything very, very simply in basic terms, so that the Americans could understand it. And I think what we learned from this, among other things, is that preaching is time, circumstances, and audience. It doesn't do any good if you're preaching the philosophy, but the audience doesn't get it. You have to preach it in such a way that the audience gets it. What do you think about that and other things, Ras Vilas Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danod Pranam.
You want to read the report too as part of your offering? Either before or after your comments, doesn't matter.
So, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Bhagavad Gita, worship of the Acharya is recommended. The Acharyas and Goswamis are always absorbed in thought of the well-being of the general public, especially the spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being is automatically followed by material well-being. The Acharyas therefore give directions in spiritual well-being for people in general. Forcing the incompetencies of the people in this age of Kali, or the iron age of quarrel, the sages requested that Sutta Goswami give a summary of all revealed scriptures, because the people of this age are condemned in every respect. The sages therefore inquired of the absolute good, which is the ultimate good for the people. The condemned state of affairs of the people of this age is described as follows. So, yeah, as is stated, you know, I can add just a couple of thoughts. I mean, you should hear from acharyas, qualified like spiritual master, those who have experience, who have lived these different scriptures in their life. But the inquirer, whoever, they should be also enthusiastic about hearing. And that's what these different sages are showing. They're so enthusiastic about hearing about Krishna, about his pastime, about the ultimate knowledge one can aspire from different acharyas. And then other thing is, it's clearly stated here that, in what we tend to do is in our daily life, that, okay, let me earn this, let me do this. Once I'm done, then I will, get time and focus on spirituality or focus on reading something. But this verse clearly states that, you focus on bhakti, and then material, things will follow automatically. So the bhakti comes first, and then if after bhakti, things will follow. The greatest example is Dhruva Maharaj, right? His first desire was material desire, that, okay, I want to get kingdom greater than my own father's kingdom. But then with the mercy of Narada Muni, he prayed to Lord and prayed, Lord appeared in front of him and he forgot about it. He said, no, I don't want anything. I just want your bhakti. And then, so even he got bhakti, and then Lord gave him a kingdom much, much bigger than his father's kingdom. So that's my realization from this verse, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So it seems that in spiritual life, the trickle-down theory actually does work, because the more advanced that a devotee gets, the more concern, more compassion arises from within the heart, and the more concerned that he becomes about people in general. It's impossible to advance in devotional service and become more selfish. Rather, just the opposite is the trend. So we always find amongst advanced devotees an intense concern about how to alleviate the suffering of others. And again, this resonates with Rakesh's report, because Srivas Thakur was no other than Narada Muni. I was thinking that just like Paul in Christianity, he's credited with writing most of the New Testament. So I think in a sense, and this is a long shot for sure, but so many of the quotes that we share, especially the ones about alleviating suffering, come from Narada Muni. If you actually go through the Srimad Bhagavatam and do a count and calculate the percentage of quotes that come from Narada Muni, it's amazing. You think that you're in the Dhruva Bhagavatam and you're studying all the quotes from the 4th canto, and you assume that Dhruva made all those quotes. But when you look closely, you find that half of those quotes are actually from Narada, and he got in there some or other, And then you go to another canto like Prahlad, and you'll find that, those quotes that you thought were Prahlad, several of them were Narada Muni's. So Narada Muni is the most advanced, the most unrestricted, and because of his elevation, he's the most compassionate.
You mentioned Narada Muni, Prabhu. I can share one thing I was hearing yesterday. He used to do mischievous activities with the Lord directly. And one time, Lord, because Narada Muni is known for Veena, right? Playing Veena, the world best musician, right? When it comes to Veena. So Lord Krishna was very pleased with his Veena playing. He said, okay, I'm going to give you boon. Ask me for a boon. And Narada Muni said, okay, I'll ask you later on, not today. And then the swing festival came, Jhula festival came, later on, few months after. And then Narada Muni reminded Lord Krishna, said, okay, you asked me for a boon, now I want my boon. And Lord Krishna said, okay, what is the boon? Tell me. Today I want you to have swing with Lalita Sakhi, not Radharani. So he said, Krishna said, oh, really? Okay. And then Radha Muni requested Lalita Sakhi. Lalita said, no, I don't want to have, because it's Radha Rani's place. She's the supermost gopis among all of us. And Narada Muni said, no, Radha Rani is getting ready. Don't worry. By the time she comes, you have swing with Lord Krishna. So Lalita started having swing with Krishna, and here you go. And Narada Muni straight goes to Radharani, who is getting ready, and tells Radharani, so do you know what is happening? Radharani says, yeah, what is happening? But then Radharani also remembers Krishna's word, because Krishna tells her that always be careful from Narad Muni, okay? It's mischievous. She remembers Krishna's word, but then she's carried away. Narad Muni said, you know, he's having swing with Lalita Sakhi. So really? And Radharani gets angry, but Krishna comes and tells her the whole story. See, he has a bone. So this is what Narada Muni used to do, you know, some mischievous activities with Lord.
Jaya. Very well. So, Koma, do you want to weigh in here with any comments on the verse or any comments on any of the comments or any questions?
I think thank you to Rakesh Prabhu. Firstly, that was explained very well. A lot of things I did not know, so it's very knowledgeable and a lot of information. And I think as Madhuri said, this is a very beautiful verse that please explain to us in the way that the public can understand, because especially in today's age, at least when I think about myself, I'm not able to think at that level. So it needs to be explained like at a grassroots, very simplistically said. And even then our mind takes time to understand and to accept it. So I think this is it's a long process, but at least if it's explained in a way that it can be understood over time, we might be able to understand and acknowledge and start on that path. So that's it. I do not have any further comments. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. That's a good comment. Very good. Sundari Priya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories. So nice to have all the Vaishnavas here assembled and their association, and Rakesh Prabhu just nailed it. Thank you. And you know what we understand is a true Goswami, a true Acharya, actually, you know, the Uttamadhikari, he comes down to the level of where we want to learn. You know, that's what the benchmark of a true preacher is. They don't preach from here, they come down here, they become your friend, they become your associate, they teach you with love and affection that you are so engrossed, because they are not judging you, they're not putting you in a box and expecting you to get an A. They realize that you have impediments and they hold your hand and drag you from there. That's the beauty of an Acharya or Goswami. And even here, I love the word, foreseeing the incompetencies of the people of the age of Kali. So, you know, the sages of, you know, they know that what our defects are, and they are foreseeing that like a true doctor. You know, the doctor knows how deteriorating our health is going to be. And then they prescribe the medicine according to the illness, not just say, okay, this is it, this is the rule, and if you don't follow this, you don't belong here. So for every patient in this material world, Krishna has designed a guru, an acharya, who they can understand, they can hear, and then that healing starts from within. And I think that's what the sages were really, they were looking at our conditions today in my situation and say, there's no way I can understand this flowery language, and I need to be packaged in a sugar-coated medicine that I can swallow much easily, and hopefully someday I'll really take that medicine seriously. So that's my limited understanding. Please forgive me if I've misspoken, Prabhuji.
Wonderful comments. Wonderful. And there's so many, after Prabhupada left us, and there are, what, 100 different gurus in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Diksha gurus, what to speak of Shiksha gurus. And one can, with internet technology, YouTube, you can hear from all of them. And like you said, find that one who resonates with you, find that one who speaks to you individually, and then you can apply for initiation, and then be guided by that merciful, compassionate soul, and not just a rubber stamp soul, but somebody who you have discovered in your spiritual journey. So you're a Radhanath Swami disciple. Speaking of that, Omkar is an aspirant disciple. Do you want to say something, Omkar?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. So thank you for the discussion today. It was a very wonderful discussion. So as we were discussing mostly about today, the incompetencies of the people of the Kali Yuga. And also I can observe that people are always disturbed, lazy, do not want to do anything. And they have very short attention span. So to give them something which can do self-realization is very difficult. So I feel very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada gave us very simple program of chanting, dancing, and feasting, and that is anyone can do. So I thought that is a very easy program for self-realization. So that is a great thing for that Srila Prabhupada given us. So,
And you could hardly imagine a greater contrast between the audience that Bhaktisiddhanta preached to and the audience that Prabhupada preached to. I mean, this isn't just a little step down from one generation to another. This isn't just a little baby step, a split level step from India to America. This is like free fall, you know. It's like standing on an angel's landing, you know, and looking at the trail down below, you know. So Prabhupada, you know, from Angel's Landing, you know, he put on his hang glider, and he came down to across from India to America, which was a huge descent. And not only that, but from being a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta to going into the Haight Ashbury. I mean, just staggering the adjustments that he had to make. The way he had to kind of just dummy it down so that, you know, LSD addicted, pot smoking, love generation could understand it and pick up on it. And Krishna, being in his heart, dictated to him in such an extraordinary way that that's exactly what happened. You know, there couldn't be two cultures more polarized, more opposite than the culture in which Prabhupada grew up in as a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta and the so-called culture that Prabhupada landed in 1965 in New York, Lower East Side and Haight Ashbury. But I mean, it's impossible, but you know, we always say Krishna can do what's impossible for us is possible for Krishna.
Yeah, I just had a small comment when you said the difference in the culture. Prabhupada mentions, I come from a culture where my mother was carried on a palanquin, covered palanquin from one house to another. And when he came, I'm not saying that West does it now, Indians do that all the time. And here he saw the relationship between man and woman so different. And still he was so kind, so respectful, you know, as you can expect from an acharya. And he gave everybody the taste, the spiritual taste. You know, you want to eat, but try to eat prasad, you know. You want to relish music, hear this mantra, you know, how he gave them the true rasa, you know, and then just gradually brought everybody back, you know, on the spiritual path. It's just amazing.
None of that would have been possible without complete faith in the chanting of the holy names. Kirata huninda palinda bakasha abhiri shamba yavana yenecha papada pashasya sujanti tajmai pravishveda maha. Prabhupada could have gotten negative or desperate or despondent at, you know, at any number of different lapses on the part of his disciples, even after they contacted Krishna consciousness. But he knew that as long as they kept chanting, as long as they kept their contact with the holy name of the Lord, that anybody could be corrigible up to the standard of perfection. So the core of his being was not just in making adjustments, but making adjustments with complete faith in the power, the medicine, mantra sodhi of the holy name to rectify anybody. Either Kapil or Govinda, invite either one of you to jump in at this point.
Govinda.
Kapil.
Bro, intelligence and beauty should go before me, so go for it. Bro, you're on mute.
Unmute yourself, Govinda.
Yes, we will have the dim-witted, ugly one will go first, and then we'll hear from Kapil. The other thing that always strikes me about the teaching potency of Srila Prabhupada is that he was absolutely courageous in every circumstance. He never backed down from any opportunity. And he was just absolutely unstoppable in his conviction for all the reasons that Caru just mentioned, that you have to have the willingness and the desire to speak to people and to have sensitivity to what their circumstance is, traditional India versus drug-laden Haight-Ashbury, can you imagine? But sticking up for those hippies, though, they are the founding fathers, those drug-soaked freaks. Shyama Sundar and Malati, they came from a culture that we don't know, that we don't want to know, but they were open-minded. They were rebellious against the materialistic culture. And Prabhupada instinctively, I think, must have just seized on that. He must have known that and spoke to those people because there was some openness there. There was also great intelligence. These were not, these were well-educated, intelligent people who really, really wanted to get the best thing. And what is my point? I think the point is you need to be courageous. I was just actually reading this morning from Chasing Rhinoceroses with the Swami when Shyama Sundar gets the invitation from George Harrison, 1 moment's notice. He said, hey, we've got a break here in our recording the album Abbey Road. And would it be possible for you to bring your group over here because it was just Shyam Sundar. Could you possibly come over because the Beatles, John, Paul, George, we'd all like to hear the philosophy from you. And you can just hear in his writing, the big gulp. Oh my goodness, I'm going to go teach the Beatles about Krishna consciousness. And the point is, he went and he did it. On the way, as he's going over, he prays, Krishna, I don't know exactly how I'm going to speak to the most famous people in the world about this most important topics, but please, please guide me in what I say. And so it takes courage and it takes faith. You know, when it comes all down to, I think, at least for me, in order to have any effectiveness in talking to anybody about spiritual matters, to talk about Krishna, I remember maybe 2 months ago, I have been a faithful participant in the morning Bhagavatam classes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every week, going back. It seems like it goes back to the beginning of time at this point, but it actually started sometime in March. And there was one Bhagavatam, it was probably in April, and it had been a beautiful class. I was feeling really inspired. I was feeling really outside all material consideration. And Caru came to this crescendo of expression, and he said, and that's when you were there, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, when you realize there's nothing but Krishna. There is nothing but Krishna. Must see everything in relationship to Krishna, whatever it is you're doing. You forget about Krishna and you will have the inevitable crash. You remember that there's nothing but Krishna. And then I remember this, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. That is the essence of what has to be taught. It's all about Krishna. There really is nothing but Krishna. Everything else is something that is created by, maintained by, and supported by the Supreme Lord. And if you can have that type of consciousness and be attentive to those you're with, you know, maybe you can affect somebody for good in your speaking. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. The sages in Naimishranya had that, their minds were predicated that way because even before Sudha Goswami opened his mouth, they said, if it ain't about Krishna, we don't want to hear it. Because only topics about Krishna will pacify the heart and relieve the sufferings of people in general. So they just said, if it's not about Krishna, then just stop and don't go any further. That's what we want. Buddhini kamani sotavyang. We want the essence. We want the best thing. We want that thing from which everything else comes.
Haribol.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prabhuji, you covered everything. You didn't leave anything left for me to cover.
No.
Prabhuji, I have 10 things to talk about. 9 of them are like my realizations from this one. So 3 verses that comes to mind from Bhagavad Gita. 3 words that caught my attention. So I want to ask some questions to clarify that. And then 3 qualities that I want to discuss. And to take the narrative to the next level, not about the Acharya, but about the disciple. And then I have a question. So 3 verses, 3 words, 3 qualities, and 1 question. And I have to do that in 3 minutes. So that's the time I set up for myself. So as when we read the purport, it says in Bhagavad Gita, worship of Acharya is recommended. So there are multiple verses that talks about it, but the 3 that came to the mind immediately is the one, the 15.1, where Prabhupada explains that first Krishna says that who is the Acharya who knows the Veda, and as Amrita Sundari Mataji mentioned, Prabhupada writes in the purport that there are 2 things that are essential. 1, you need to be Krishna conscious, and 2, you need to have that devotional service attitude, because then either you know the Vedas or you will be qualified to know the Vedas. So I think that came to the mind. And then definitely 4.34, where we talk about the Guru, and only how can you get this information through the disciplic succession. And then the third verse was 2.7. And there's only one particular word when we say Karpanya dosho prahat svabhava prashyami tvam dharma sambodha cheta yat shreha shat nishchitam bruhitanme. And those words are there in this verse as well. When we approach a guru, and most of, let alone the guru, sometimes our seniors at our place, people whom we trust, most often the notion is asking them that what is good for me. But this verse in 2.7 talks about what is best for me, what is best for you. And I think that is the word that says that they know about your well-being, especially the spiritual well-being. So those are the 3 verses. So my question is, what any one of you can tell me that what are the other verses that Prabhupada is talking about here? But before we do that, the 3 words that caught my attention is, first one is Acharya. And Acharya, we all have a lot of definitions, but I think the most closest thing to understand is where the feats and the deeds are in sync. You set an example, you teach by your acharan. And that's the, I think, Acharya Prabhu, I really like that. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of gurus, there are a lot of people now on YouTube, on various other platforms. They talk about Gita, they talk about a lot of other things. But I think where you lose the connection is where you see an inconsistency between the feats and the deeds. And then the third one is easily understandable when you gave Radhe Raman Prabhuji's example. And there are a lot of other people that fit in the same criteria. It's not only about how much you know, it's how much you can give it to me. As Amrita Sundari Mataji mentioned, that when Prabhupada came, that is the amazing example of Acharan, where not only he transforms our heart, he transcends many of the hearts just by his sheer presence. And so there was no disconnection between. Now, talking about the disciple or the person who is approaching a guru, there are a lot of, like, if you take an example of Parikshit Maharaj and then a lot of other people who are trying to understand this science, I think the one thing that is missing and the one thing that is the biggest impediment is showing that urgency, that I don't have tomorrow or lives after lives to understand this. I think because he was able to understand it and then immediately went to the Golok Vrindavan to Vaikunt after the 7th day, because there was a sheer urgency to know this science. There was a faith in the speaker, the person who was telling the thing. But above all, it was also that mood of submission, that I know that you are the one who not only understand about my immediate goods, but my larger well-being. And I think when we approach the Guru with that mindset, or a mentor or someone senior, and that don't only tell me that what is good for me in this situation where I have to pick one from the two options, tell me what is best in the long run that could be challenging to start with or at the outset. So those are my realization from this one. My question to the group is, what are some of the other verses that Prabhupada is referring in when it says that Bhagavad Gita worship of Acharya is recommended, other than the three that we discussed?
Acharya mam viganayam nabam manja rajashagara shmitra chamara nugra. Acharya is to be taken as my very, very representative. Yasha deve para bhakti yata katita yata. The one who has implicit faith, explicit and implicit faith in the Guru, and explicit faith in the scriptures. He's capable of delivering people all over the world. A couple of other verses there.
Thank you, Will.
Yanhara darshana mukya, Aisa Krishna. Mukha means face. Darshana means seeing the face. So it's explained in Chaitanya Charita that an empowered Vaishnava is someone that just Nanhara Darshana Mukya, seeing their face, Krishna, you get faith in Krishna and become a devotee, just seeing their face.
Thank you, Haribol.
Anybody further comments, responses to Kapilji? Pavan and Radhe Shyam, any comments that you have, please share. And then Kirtan, and as we've kind of skirted around it this week, there's a huge verse coming up next week. Of course, it's all about the incompetencies of the people in the present age. So be sure to read it during the week. Take some notes, because. and also Vaishnavas, they don't usually speak negative. They don't usually complain or anything. But the verse next week, it does give you a license to complain about the age and the people. So if you have things that you need to get off your chest about Kali Yuga people and Kali Yuga age and Kali Yuga attitudes, then next week is the chance to let off a little steam.
Can't wait.
I saw something on Facebook the other day. It said, if you don't like wearing a mask, you're really not going to like a ventilator. Our psychologist, Radhe Shyam, Pavan.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
This verse says Acharyas and Goswamis are always absorbed in thought of the well-being of the general public, especially their spiritual well-being. And Srila Prabhupada said the people in this age were lazy, and even if they are interested, they're becoming trapped by false gurus. So what to do? So fortunately, we met Prabhupada. I was one of the always had questions from my childhood. What is, and nobody answered it. And finally, and I read Prabhupada's books, it was so clear and simple. It's a chant Hare Krishna, cook prasada, study philosophy, especially in the Shirisha Upanishad and the 10th text mantra. There is 18 principles of life. So I really loved it. It's very simple and clear. It's not like unlimited, like telling some people how to say. There were so many teachers writing books and so many things. There's unlimited texts, and you read and or listen, you never understood. The more you listen, the more you bewildered. So I'm very unlimited grateful to Prabhupada who told us what is the solution. If you look on the world, there is unlimited, again, it's Kali Yuga, vices. If you go and deep, we will just lost and degraded from all this news, like Caru Prabhu says, just 5 minutes you listen news and you will be depressed. So better, so it's just so simple. You since that time as I met Prabhupada is chanting Hare Krishna and study philosophy, like I'm translating. Then prasada and share this knowledge, whoever is interested. And it's so simple and life becomes simple. So we don't have question, oh, what should I do next day? What should I do next? And what should I study? So by Prabhupada's mercy, by Vaishnava's mercy, who is enlightening us, we don't have question, we don't have problem. Just continue whole life, in this life and next life, wherever Krishna sends. So just say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And I tell my clients, absolutely no way should you watch the news, ever. It's depressing. Your anxiety is going to go up to the ceiling, and they stop watching the news and they feel better. Wow. But yeah, I love your how you describe Prabhupada as, you know, being up on the Angel's Landing and coming down on his hang glider. Because what a contrast from India to the hippies of Haight-Ashbury. But he got through to them. He was that gifted that he could get through to them in a way that they understood and embraced Krishna consciousness. Hallelujah. You know, we all wouldn't be here if it weren't for that.
Krishna's in everyone's heart. That's how it's possible.
So next, Kirtan.
Are you two going to lead us in Kirtan from Tuala?
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pavan and Radhe Shyam. Thanks to
you.
everyone for joining in. Just one point. Does anybody want to do a report on Sanatan Goswami for next week? It's because it's his disappearance day. Anybody?
If anybody is not doing, I can do, Prabhu. But if somebody hasn't spoken, maybe they can. Omkar Prabhu hasn't spoken. Maybe he can do, or we can do together. Either way.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay,
Sure.
but you do next week then, Sanatan Goswami.
Okay, that'll be great.
Okay.
And then try to get a chance to look at the verse, Prayano Payosha Sabja. It's very often quoted by Srila Prabhupada and very prophetic. It's pretty much nailed all the things that we're seeing unfolding before our eyes. And all I can say is it's a good thing. It's a good thing we're Krishna conscious. You know, I'm not sure if I've ever in my whole 50 years as trying to be a devotee, if I've ever been as happy to be a devotee and to have all this knowledge and culture at my disposal than I am right now. I don't know where we'd be without Krishna consciousness in these times. I don't know where we'd be, but we've got a boat. We've got a good solid boat to cross the ocean, and let's just meditate on how fortunate that we are and see how we can explain the philosophy in such a way as to encourage other people to get out of the ocean and get into the boat along with us. All right.
And can't wait for Monday morning motivation, 7:30 a.m. sharp.
Motivational Monday, around the corner. Any other last comments, questions before we adjourn for today?
Thank you so much for everyone for the association.
Let's hear
Thank
it.
you all for your
Great to see
association.
you all.
If I say Rakesh, can you all say Ki Jai? Rakesh,
No, Prabhuji.
Ki Jai.
Oh, Jai! Jai, Jai, Jai.
report. Thank you for the Kirtan, Govinda and Kavana. Thank you for your comments, everybody. So relishable. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo
Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha.
Jai.